Despite their historically dominant playoff run in 2024, the Celtics aren't about to forget about the biggest piece of doubt from skeptics portrayed in this Jayson Tatum mic drop that speaks volumes.
Obviously, it'd be cool enough to hang an 18th banner. I get that's the bigger thing, but there's never been a Celtic team ever with a better playoff record than what you guys have to this point. The 86 team went 82-18. You guys could be 2 games away from that as like the second best Celtic team ever in terms of record. How much more would that add to it when you think of all that this franchise has done? You guys could be at the top of a whole lot of lists in that record book.
I didn't know that. That would be really cool. But you know, you guys probably would say we didn't play anybody to get here, so we just have to do it again next year.
Thank you, Jason.
Even though I did make 18 Celtic videos, not including this one in my last, I'll apologize and admit I was wrong for buying into the narrative that the Celtics had an easy path to the finals, because it's now abundantly clear that whether it was a healthy Knicks team or not that got through Indiana to advance to take on the Celtics in the conference finals, or whatever the case may be, it wouldn't have mattered. The Celtics are just different this year, and in Boston, it's evidently different here. Stay tuned for why that's the case. But just 17.5% of you are subscribed, so please subscribe if you're not in that percentage. Appreciate you. Back to the content. It's pretty insane that both Tatum and his high school friend Matthew Tkachuk are both up 3-0 in their respective playoff series, with Matthew being in the NHL playing for the Florida Panthers and about to bring Lord Stanley to South Beach. Tatum's message to his team, at least through the media, that is, reads, "We're not necessarily saying one more, but instead, however long it takes. No one is relaxed, no one is satisfied, we gotta keep fighting, can't relax." Further detailing that, Tatum would state regarding Boston going down 3-0 to Miami and nearly coming back last year, last year we were a sprained ankle away from having a shot at overcoming an 0-3 deficit ourselves. Additionally, Jason doesn't seem to be caring about who gets the finals MVP between he and JB. As he stated in a BR exclusive, finals MVP or whatever, a champion is a champion. That's the goal. I want for my teammates what I want for myself. I want everybody to shine. There's enough attention for all of us, and so I want everybody to give us theirs. I've started heavily covering this team since they took down my Raptors in the 2020 bubble playoffs, but shout out to those who have been following, rooting for, and covering Boston since day one in what Celtic fans are calling the gray jersey era, as Boston being one win from a chip of course means the very most to the biggest Beantown diehards. Shout out to every one of you. What described the fact that Boston has some of the best fans on the planet is that they sold out 2 arenas this past Wednesday without a single game going on in them, one being a watch party for their C's playing in Dallas at TD Garden, and the other for a Tom Brady Hall of Fame ceremony at Gillette Stadium. On Thursday's off day, it spoke volumes that the team down 0-3 decided to skip practice, being the Mavericks, while the team up 3-0 decided to put in a practice, as there may be a dedication discrepancy that's come about here. Meanwhile, Luka Doncic has opted to complain about the officiating despite the fact that in Game 3, his Mavs shot more free throws than Boston again, and the refs called more fouls on the Celtics again, while Dallas has still yet to crack 100 points in a matchup that's been nightmarish for them all season. Fans criticizing Doncic's lack of defense are calling Luka the greatest designated hitter of all time, referring to the fact that he's only able to be valuable offensively. Let's take it easy on Luka. It is his first NBA Finals appearance. Kyrie Irving is on the precipice of falling to 0-14 against the Celtics since stepping on lucky at center court after beating the Celtics in a 2021 first-round series when they were missing Jaylen Brown. Irving did play really well in Game 3, however. Jaylen Brown's all-time player development in the Celtics organization has been pretty remarkable, going from a fairly raw 6.6 per game scoring rookie to finishing 10th in Defensive Player of the Year voting and 7th in Most Improved Player of the Year voting as a sophomore, to then steadily developing into an all-star, to then taking the leap from star to superstar over the last couple years. JB's growth is a testament to both his unrelenting desire to get better, Along with the Celtics' first-class coaching staff, whether it's been under Brad Stevens, Ime Udoka, or Joe Mazzulla, surrounded by a flurry of top-notch assistant coaches. But it hasn't been all smooth sailing for Brown, to say the least, as this man has faced ruthless critiques regarding his left hand. On that note,
I'd like to take this chance to apologize
to Jaylen Brown for criticizing his ambidextrousness in the past. Forgive me for that. Brown has also caught a boatload of slander for his $300 million contract extension, and he was inexplicably snubbed for both an All-NBA team and All-Defensive team this season, using last year's Game 7 loss to Miami as fuel to his fire, in a game he detailed as embarrassing that he dropped the ball in, and that drove him crazy. Jaylen has full circle responded by averaging 25 points per game on an incredible 54% shooting from the field. Brown has clapped back to both the trolling critics and shameless haters. Jaylen Marcellus Brown has developed into what the kids would call nowadays as quote-unquote him. Along with the questionable for Game 4 Kristaps Porzingis' narrative and many other storylines, the hilariously intriguing tale of the great Joe Mazzulla, who's gone from being the hated interim to the best coach in the association, will be detailed entirely in a separate upload. But when Joe was asked about Brown, he would say, "How can I explain Jaylen? The guy has a growth mindset. He just wants to get better. He yearns to get better. He's not afraid to face his weaknesses on the court." Everyone tries to pinpoint one player as the number one guy in any given situation around the NBA. It's a way that fans can better understand the game for themselves and others. Mazzulla is aware that his team isn't that simple, and this clip describes that.
Have you ever seen Spider-Man?
Which one?
Into the Spider-Verse? Yeah. There's like 20 different Spider-Mans. That's like our team.
One of the men interwebbed in the dominant Celtics Spider-Verse for many years is Alfred Joel Al Horford Reynoso. I briefly mentioned Horford's excellent replacing of Porzingis in my last video, but outlining that point is the fact that Al's versatility has allowed him to hold Dallas's two best players in Luka and Kyrie to a combined 8 for 29 shooting from the field in this series, according to the NBA's matchup tracking data. When speaking on Horford, Jrue Holiday would state, "Al is the most reliable teammate we've seen and had. He's the ultimate leader. He keeps everybody calm. Al makes some of the biggest plays. Very, very fortunate and lucky to have Al. I want to win for Al." JJ Reddick would take his turn ripping into the Celtics non-believers, specifically the biggest one being Nick Wrong, whose freezing cold take saying that by the time Boston made adjustments they'd be down 3-1 is aging like milk left out of the fridge.
I mean, Nick Wright, he said the Celtics record and point differential say they're an all-time team. The eye test says they are not close to that. We shall see what's what here in 10 days. Mavs in 5. And obviously Nick is wrong, like a number of other people. And I think and I keep saying this, the problem with the predictions and the discourse around this Celtics team is that too much of it is based on past performances. And we haven't actually, we collectively, I'm not saying me, I'm not going to put myself in that. We collectively have not witnessed what we've watched this year and recognized just how fucking good this team is.
Reddick is on point with that take, as Boston's shown a different level of poise under pressure, as written by Sean Grande. In a 99-game Celtics parade of destroying narratives, none have been obliterated more than the struggle in the clutch one. In clutch minutes in the playoffs, Boston is essentially the greatest team in the history of the game and quite possibly hyperbole itself. That was a tough statement. With a sweep, the Celtics could go 16-2 in the playoffs and finish off the second best title run since the NBA went to a best-of-7 first round. Only the 16-17 Warriors could top it, who finished 16-1. In terms of all time, Boston's 16-2 run would be the fourth greatest ever, with only those 2017 Warriors, the 2001 Lakers, and the 1983 76ers having a higher playoff winning percentage. Any way you slice it, this run has been insane. And while I was one of them at one point, I don't care about the people saying they had an easy path to the finals, because in retrospect, you play who's in front of you, and the last team standing wins essentially in any year. You could go with another member of the backcourt in Derek White's development. Again, a story for another day, but the most different factor about the Celtics this year, in my opinion, is the fact that they have Jrue, Randall, Holiday. The grittiness and toughness defensively, mixed with the stability plus calm, cool, and collectedness offensively from the man Brad Stevens traded 6th Man of the Year Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams III, and 2 future first-round picks for, has been the gift that keeps on giving. Holiday is just a glue guy with an extremely high IQ who can do just about anything out there for you and defend about any position. Making the deal even sweeter for Boston is that Jrue signed a contract extension to remain with the franchise through at least the 2026-27 season. Holiday is on the verge of ring number 2 after being given up on by Milwaukee, a franchise he hilariously picked the coach for before getting traded in what's a Bucks front office led by John Horst that's in complete shambles. Which different factor about the Celtics is most responsible for them being 1 win away from winning their first chip since 2008 and topping the Lakers in championship rings, as hard as that is to hear for fans of the purple and gold? Let me know your take down below. First shout out goes to Kev Chuck, who says X factor for both teams is defense. And the second shout out goes to a man in the shout out leaderboard top 5, Tim Edits, who says Celtics in 4. Appreciate every answer. Get your takes in on today's question. Your boy D-Flow signing off.